Well, we're back post Easter, and we have a cold front approaching from the west. And this will be the one and only cold front that we will see for the work week, anyway. Not a whole lot happening weather-wise around the country. We seem to be in a bit of a lull period that'll probably change before too long. Of course, we'll let you know about when it will change right here on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support very easily if you'd like. If you do shop on Amazon, we'll use our referral link that's pinned at the top of the chat board or on the descriptor to this podcast. Just use the links, search and shop for whatever it is you're going to buy, and Amazon will send your product to you and send us a little coin. And it doesn't come out of your pocket, it's kind of their pocket. So it doesn't cost you a red cent or any color cent. And we appreciate those of you who have or are considering supporting the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast by shopping on Amazon. Joe, do you shop on Amazon?
I don't really. I don't do much online shopping. My wife and my daughter are big shoppers online with Amazon, so they do that.
I get my Parmigiano cheese from Amazon, among other things.
Well, I'm sure you can get most. I commented yesterday. Somebody had noted that there was an Amazon truck going up the block. This is in the late afternoon. He just shook his head. He said they deliver even on Easter. I said, as far as Amazon is concerned, there are no such things as holidays
That is
anymore.
correct. Absolutely. They must deliver us our stuff 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
So there you go.
There you go. All right. So my Easter was good. I had some friends over yesterday. I posted it up on Facebook, and I also posted it on my subscription page. And I made uh, for openers. I made baked orecchiette, which is an Italian pasta. Orecchiette means little ears because they look like little ears. And with that was followed by a prime rib and a leg of lamb, roasted potatoes, asparagus, and mushrooms. Although there were a couple of people that held up the sign that said "Hold la onions," as you can remember from the Bugs Bunny cartoon. But everything was good. You had turkey. I remember you saying you're having turkey. It was good.
The Antoine,
A
right?
la Antoine, yes. A la Antoine,
A la Antoine,
yes.
and it has nothing to do with the weatherman. No, we had turkey. We had boneless leg of lamb, to which I had to, of course, inject my little bit of humor. How did it walk?
Yeah.
Um, and cornbread, and it was very nice. We had about 11. We had 11 and a half people. We had 11 people, 11 grown-ups, and of course the half was our grandson. So
Yeah.
we had a full. It was about as full yesterday as it was or is during Thanksgiving.
I actually prefer when cooking it, I much prefer a bone-in leg of lamb versus a boneless.
Hmm.
Because I actually like eating the meat off the bone. I think it's just like the best part of it, my own personal opinion. Same with the prime rib. It was a bone-in prime rib roast, and that to me the bone part is the absolute best of it all. So anyway, that's my little old never to be humble opinion. So you have a cold front coming through tonight. Not a whole lot with it. And the rest of the work week looks, at least up your way, looks pretty dry.
I mentioned the possibility of a few showers sometime between 9 o'clock and midnight, but they're pretty well gone by the time we get to daybreak tomorrow morning. So they'll be around, few and far between. Tomorrow clears out by afternoon. Temperatures soar back up into the mid 70s, it looks like, and another fine day coming up, a little bit cooler on Wednesday. Thursday looks nice. Next chance for any precipitation after tonight may not come until Saturday. So it looks like a relatively quiet and uneventful week coming up.
Yeah, little pockets of severe weather here and there around the country, but it's calmed down from what happened over the weekend in places like Oklahoma and Missouri. and Arkansas. Anthony Orr, who's usually our regular hurricane statistician here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, hit the tip jar tonight. Thank you, Anthony. And he wants me to pass along that there is a very bad brush fire on Bear Mountain near Jim Thorpe and Carbon County, Pennsylvania. Jim Thorpe, Carbon County, Pennsylvania. All county offices in Jim Thorpe are closed at 9:30 a.m. And would it be possible for me to mention this fire on the Joe and Joe show, which I did? So I guess there were, the air is pretty dry, so it must have set off a brush fire. Rain hasn't rained much, and we've had some dry air masses over the last week or so.
It's been, well, we've had precipitation, but it hasn't been a tremendous amount. We've had little
Right.
spurts here and there. So
And the wind doesn't help the cause, which never seems to stop.
the wind has been unrelenting
How
from
gusty was it
winter
there
on into
yesterday? Because
early spring.
the gradient didn't really look all that tight.
It did, certainly we didn't discuss the possibility of, let's say, wind advisories or wind warnings, but in spite of that, we still had some rather breezy conditions. Yesterday was rather, I'll tell you what, we had a high locally in the mid 80s. I think it was 85, 86
On
here,
Saturday.
85, 85 on Saturday, 85 at Westchester Airport, tying the record by 1 degree. The record was 86, set back in 1976. Now, this house, my house, when it gets hot or even very warm, it holds the heat in. And when we were getting ready to go to bed on Saturday night, Renata made the comment we should have done something about turning on the air conditioning, which meant I would have to go all through the house, open up the vents, and then go outside and uncover the unit, the central air unit, because we have central air conditioning. We did not. However, knowing that we had a cold front approaching, I said, well, let's open the windows. If everything goes according to schedule, we should have the front move through around midnight. Thereafter, we should get a pretty gusty wind blowing out of the west and west northwest, and that should pretty well cool the house down. Well, sure enough, right after midnight, you could actually hear the wind outside blowing. I said, here it comes, here it is, and everything. And around 3 o'clock in the morning, we were awakened by the pinging of the pipes. The heat started to come up at 3 a.m. So it shows you we went from one extreme to another within a matter of only a few hours. So we had no problems falling asleep thereafter. But initially, when in a very warm house, you say, "Oh God, yeah, how am I going to be able to get to sleep now?" Whatever. But we had no problems on the night before Easter, and Easter turned out to be very nice. Sunshine, temperatures in the mid 60s, a few thin high clouds. Lovely, lovely day all around.
Okay. Welcome to everybody tonight on the chat board. Hope your Easter was a wonderful day and you ate well. And welcome to those of you who are lurking in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Now, we're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. But, and we've been mentioning this for the last couple of weeks. After Thursday of this week, we will not be back until Monday, May 5th. Okay, so all of next week, we're off. I am going to Florida and I am going fishing for 7 days, and that's what I'm doing. So I don't think it's a problem, but I don't want to do live shows. Well, I need the time. We're doing this, and on topping that, we're doing the Weather Legends podcasts, which are, trying to get doing that once a week. And I'm getting to where, like, my brain, I don't know about you, but I'm getting to where my brain is like mush, and I need some recharging. I need some relaxation. I need to step away for a little while to clear my head. So we're doing that next week, just to let everybody know. So on
I
that
hope
note,
I hope the weather legends improves in the coming days. And I posted the latest episode, Weather Myths and Weather Modification, on my Facebook page. Now I'll give you an idea I'll give you an idea of my Facebook page. Yesterday, my sister brought a pair of rabbit ears and put them on my dog, Mr. Sweeney. I posted that picture on Facebook and I said, Mr. Sweeney hopes that all of
I
you had
saw it.
a wonderful Easter Sunday.
I
I
saw it.
got I got 108 likes and 11 comments from that one single picture.
Yeah.
Then just a little while later, I said, okay, let's post weather myths, weather modification, figuring that would get a fair number of people. Joe, it has been up now for 7 hours, and I've gotten a grand total of three likes.
Well, look, so here's the reasoning behind that is that it's YouTube, and YouTube posts do not get wide distribution on Facebook at all. They're competing with YouTube with Reels, and with Facebook as, and YouTube has YouTube Shorts, but when you put up a YouTube link, it rarely gets distributed unless there's a snowstorm going on or a hurricane where weather is front and center, and then the algorithms will drive those links. But on the rest of the, I mean, I discovered this months and months ago. The rest of the time, if you put up a YouTube link, it's not going to get, it's just not going to get distributed. It's sad, but that's just the way it is. I mean,
Well, the only one thing,
we have the same issue with our show. I mean, when I put up the YouTube link, I put them up everywhere. I put them up on two Facebook pages. I put them up on Twitter. They're up on LinkedIn. They barely get the algos when I go and look and see how many people, how many impressions. They get minimal because they're YouTube products, and Facebook doesn't like YouTube.
well,
So
let's hope that we can get more people to
no,
gravitate.
it'll get there. It'll
Okay.
take time. And by the way, for those of you who are on YouTube, I always post a link in my on the YouTube community page on my channel. There's all kinds of weather posts up there, so make use of it. It's there, and I always try to I put the weather legends links when I get them. I put them on there as well. So on that note, let's see what's going on. And as far as the watches and warnings around the country, very few, very few. Some wind advisories in central Michigan. There's, what is that purple? Let me see what that purple is in southwestern New York. Oh, there's a flash flood warning in a couple of counties in southwestern New York. And we have some frost advisories and freeze warnings up in parts of the Pacific Northwest and in a couple of counties in Northern California. And the rest of the country is in pretty good shape. And in fact, when we look at the satellite loop, it is one swirl that's sitting over the Great Lakes with the trailing cold front. The curse of the onshore flow, Joe, was playing by you today, which is, kept things kind of cloudy for much, not all the time, but in all areas, but for much of the time it did.
Well, first of all, I said that the temperatures may actually go up after midnight. We actually have a warm front that is expected to pass through the tri-state area probably around or soon after midnight, followed closely around daybreak by a cold front coming in from the west. But while we're in that little wedge of milder or warmer air, the temperatures, which tonight are going to be, quite mild for a late night in April. I mean, we're talking about upper 40s, lower, maybe even middle 50s. That's our low temperature for tonight. And then after the front moves by, again, temperatures may climb a little bit toward daybreak. Then the cold front moves through, dries things out, clears things out. Sun comes out tomorrow, and temperatures tomorrow could rise into the middle 70s. So it will be a nice improvement over what we had today. Today was a rather cloud filled day with some occasional sunny breaks, but tomorrow should be a better day and a milder day, too.
Got a few thunderstorms going on tonight in parts of Mississippi and southeast Louisiana, and they've even kind of nudged into northwest Georgia, although the lightning strikes have disappeared from the one thunderstorm that went in there. And again, it's not a strong front that we're talking about here because the temperatures behind it tomorrow are going to be warmer than they were ahead of it because you're going to have sunshine. And that'll boost up temperatures back to the 70s once this thing moves along. We've got a little bit of energy coming up into southwest Canada that's extending into North Dakota. We're seeing a few lightning strikes crossing parts of northeastern Wyoming and through central South Dakota and into Nebraska. Looks like the severe weather risk is going to be centered in the western plains later this week. And here's what's going on the radar. There are some light showers in eastern Pennsylvania up into the Catskills, although what's in the Catskills doesn't even look like it's reaching the ground. We've got some heavier showers. There's even a little severe thunderstorm warning box that's up next to the flash flood warning box in southwestern New York. A little special marine warning popped up for Lake Ontario. Most of that is obviously all of that's going to the north. And then there's some showers that extend through parts of Western Virginia into West Virginia, southeast Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, and then back over down into Louisiana and Mississippi, where we have some stronger cells. You see the darker reds there now moving into Alabama. There's an arc of showers and some thunderstorms crossing South Dakota into Nebraska. And then we've got all this popcorny precip back through Montana and on up into Washington State. Storm Prediction Center tonight has a marginal risk in western New York and western PA and eastern Ohio. Most of that's probably played through. And a marginal risk from southeast Louisiana northeastward into eastern Tennessee. Tomorrow, it's a marginal to slight risk in West Texas, western Oklahoma into southern Kansas, and also a small area of marginal risk across North Carolina going into the northern part of South Carolina. And then on Wednesday, it's back in the Western Plains again, from West Texas northward through western Kansas, western Nebraska, southeast Wyoming, and eastern Colorado. And the rest of the week, we don't have any severe weather issues in the long range. And when we check out the WPC rainfall forecast, now this is for the precip that we're seeing. Most of this is going to be for Saturday, I think, where we've got a half to 3/4 of an inch from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, northward up into New England. Big rains or bigger rains, 1.5 to 3 inches plus from northwest Texas across Oklahoma to Kansas, western Missouri, eastern Nebraska, and Iowa, and up to an inch pushing all the way up into northern Minnesota. Not much going on in the west, not much going on in Florida. Again, the next system for Saturday is probably the only one of consequence this week for the eastern part of the United States.
And somebody on the chat board, Mike Waterhouse Bonsai, asking, did I see a tornado warning in the Buffalo area late this afternoon? Now, I know that, there is convection, thunderstorm activity west of the tri-state area, and it's not likely that we're going to see any locally here overnight, but I did not, I wasn't looking specifically for stuff like that. Did you see anything, Joe?
I'm checking as we speak. Hold on. Let's see. Right now, there's only one severe thunderstorm one warning that's up, and that's in New York. I don't see. All right, let me check one. Let me just check that one other page. All severe weather warnings. Yes, there was at 5:32 p.m. a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Ashford Hollow, or 15 miles north of Salamanca, moving east at 35 miles per hour. And this included the counties of Allegheny, Cattaraugus. I never knew how to pronounce that. Is it Cattaraugus?
Cattaraugus? I always thought it was Cattaraugus.
Or Cattaraugus? I know that's the only other possibility. Erie and Wyoming. As I recall, I actually have been to Salamanca in Allegheny. I think that's in Allegheny County. I was there. a few years ago. I went camping up in the park there in the Alleghenies. Yeah, so Mike Waterhouse Bonsai, there was a tornado warning up in that area. So you were not dreaming. You actually experienced it. So there. All right, so let's look at what's happening
Vincent
because
Croce says, by the way, it sounds like an Italian cold cut.
it does, doesn't it? Would have to end in a vowel though. It'd have to be carega, carega.
Oh,
So anyway, here we go with a trough that's moving up into eastern Canada. We just kind of have this sort of westerly flow uh, for the next few days. There's troughing in the west. You see it down running from Idaho down to California. And there's some ridging here in the east as we move through the week. And then you notice that the height lines have all these indentations along the way. So those are little, those are short waves that are just kind of getting ejected out from the southwest and moving along in the flow. And this is why we're seeing them being played out with those severe weather risks in the western plains. Those short waves don't really make much eastward progress beyond there. I mean, they're there, but they're on the weakish side. And then as we go into Saturday, we're still in, kind of a warmish west or west northwest flow, uh, eventually being replaced by a ridge in the east and troughing from the Dakotas down into Arizona, going into the middle part of next week. That might be a busier week next week with respect to severe weather in the plains. And then eventually that trough, we get troughing coming back into the eastern part of the United States. So we're kind of in this sort of, I guess we could just describe it as just typical spring mode. I mean, there's no other way to describe it other than that, in my opinion.
oh, all right.
So, so here's the situation for Saturday. First, our front goes through. You can see there's showers left over across the south. We really could use the rain here. It's been bone dry. And we see some showers and storms getting generated overnight tomorrow in parts of North Georgia. And then they just sort of die out. There's some scattered activity that starts to develop in West Texas and Oklahoma for Tuesday night and Wednesday, and also up further up north into Kansas and Nebraska. But here in the east, it's just fairly quiet with higher pressures, warmish temperatures. I think most days, I think every day this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday should be in the 70s. And then eventually we do have a stronger low that comes out on Saturday that looks like it's going to bring in some rain and maybe even in some places a rumble or two of thunder. And then that goes out and it dries out and that's it. And next week, at least if you believe the European, there's a nice little storm there in Nebraska with snow in parts of Colorado and Wyoming and probably some severe weather that'll go with it in the Mississippi River Valley. And then eventually that'll translate east to some extent. But uh, no, nothing substantial. No nor'easters. It's it's a snooze. In a way, it's a snooze fest type weather pattern that we're in. Just it's mid spring. It's too early for hurricane season. It's too late for snow season. So we're sort of in this twilight zone.
We're in limbo,
Yes.
weather
So
limbo.
so just a couple of mentions will probably piss off somebody. I don't know. But I'm noticing, and it's very distressing to me. I know it's distressing to Joe that I've been going to various different websites, weather websites, and weather service weather websites and climo websites, and finding that there's less and less information available. For example, on the ocean water temperatures maps for the Atlantic and the Pacific, they used to have separate pages for anomalies. They're gone. The anomaly pages are gone. So we can't see how much above or below normal it is. We can see the actual water temperature maps, but they took away the anomalies. And there was, you could use those sites to go back weeks and months to find stuff That's gone. The regional climate centers, Southeast Regional Climate Center website, and the I think it's the Midwest Regional Weather website, which is used by a lot of farmers for climo activity. Those are shut down. Um, they don't have the funding to run them. So it's disturbing to me because this is what we do. That information is very important. It's important on at so many different levels,
I know
and
that Dave
they're
Tolerous
just
has been Dave Tolerous has mentioned on more than one occasion in the last couple of weeks that if this keeps up, he's not going to be able to continue doing what he's doing at Weather Risk anymore because he
he does a
relies
lot of
heavily.
commodities work. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So you know what? This is getting to be this is getting deeper and deeper. I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen during hurricane season. Um, in some ways, it puts us at an advantage, though, because being that you know we have our brains and we do have our forecasting experience, that at the very least we can fill in some void and be out there. But I'm just hoping that it doesn't get any worse than this because it really is it's not good. It's just not good. And eventually
Well,
it's gonna filter down to the Storm Prediction Center and we'll see what how it gets filtered down into the Hurricane Center when it comes to storms this year. Um, this has the potential of ending badly. Let's put it that way.
no, if it ends badly, you know, it's going to end
It's
badly.
going to end badly.
Nobody,
I mean,
nobody in Washington D.C. seems to be doing anything about it. And I know one particular politician from Alaska made a comment, and I'm not even going to repeat it, but what she said basically says it all.
you're talking about Senator Murkowski of Alaska.
Correct, correct.
Well,
So
I'm sure.
if
I'm
they're
sure.
all
Yeah,
quaking, if
it's
they're all
true.
quaking in their boots and concerned about their own lifestyle and worried about what's going to happen to them and not so much what's going to happen to the country, then basically what's going to happen to the country is what's going to happen to the country because nobody's doing a blankety blank thing about it.
Right. And I know there's probably some people that are watching right now that don't, will come back and say, stop doing politics and just stick to weather. This is, I'll answer that in two ways. We are doing weather because it's affecting us and it's affecting our audience. And also, it's my channel. I could do whatever I want. Mm. So there.
Yeah,
And
you know,
if you don't like it, go someplace else. I mean,
this is not politics, ladies and gentlemen. This is
no,
not
it's
politics.
not. It's not
This is
politics.
this is
It
this is
isn't.
our lifestyle. This is you, the taxpayer. You, the taxpayer who for decades paid to have quality meteorological information available to you and available to people like us. And now all of that information is slowly but surely going away. We did not ask for it to go away. We did not want it to go away, but there are individuals out there who are making it go away, and there are people who could probably stop it from going away, but are doing absolutely nothing to try to stop it or attempt to stop it. So, if indeed we do have major problems this spring and summer with tornadoes, microbursts, tropical cyclones, which cause a great amount of damage and which we are not getting or putting out warnings in time. If that all happens, well, so be it, because this is what's happening.
I
Nobody
mean,
seems to be
I
doing
think
anything.
the thing I can't that I'm having a really tough time processing is because I'm among other things. I follow markets. I've been trading for the better part of 40 plus years. aside from what I'm doing. I'm very well in tune to the financial markets and how they work. I've learned so much over the years, and I'm still learning, and I love it. And I think, you know, I think the thing that really I'm having a tough time with is the fact that the Weather Service costs 4 cents a day taxpayer. 4 cents. It's like it comes out to $14 a year. And the NWS, the return on investment that the government gets from the Weather Service is enormous. They make money out of it. That's the part I don't understand. You know, look, there's waste in government. There's always been waste in government. There's fraud in government. There's always been what fraud in government. And either one you want to go and find it, that's fine. But you're going to be hard pressed, in my view, to find a whole lot of waste and a whole lot of fraud in the Weather Service for something that's costing you 4 cents a day. So I just that's the part, Joe. I'm having a real difficult time with because it just financially it doesn't make any sense. You want to make sure that the things that are making you money continue to make you money, and the stuff that's not making you money, that's the stuff that maybe you focus on and you try to figure out how to make it more productive. That's the mind-boggling part to me is that it's this slash and burn shit crap that's going on, and it's affecting and then the poor people, the poor people that work there and have made their careers there, and they've given their basically you're talking about people that have 20, 25, 30 years, 5 days a week working swing shifts, working midnight shifts, day shifts, evening shifts, having their schedules turned around, ripped up and down, left and right. You know, I'm sorry. I just that I'm just never going to be able to sort of expect that and understand that. I'm just not.
Well, like I said, if it happens, it happens. We had a good run, didn't we, Joe? You and I?
But we're not going anywhere.
Well, I mean, no, I'm not talking about, the show itself, but I mean like in the time that we have been on this planet. It's been great.
Oh yeah, no, I have no
And
complaints.
and, and
I mean,
now
I'm
we're
not ready to read my obit yet in the newspaper, but you know,
looking at my obit. I'm not looking at mine either, but the lifestyle is going to change so much if this continues this way. It's not going to be the way you and I have always, stuff that we've always enjoyed. And I could go back 40 years, back in the day when I got started. I mean, I had to work at a place where it cost many hundreds of dollars just to get that data. We used to. I know
many
Europe
thousands of
used to.
dollars.
I mean, 100 per month. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I know you used to show up at the weather office I used to work on like on a Sunday night or whatever. What are you doing here? I have to see the maps. I have to see the teletype. I want to see the front. Now it's available to us through the magic of our technology. But now, if things go the way they've been going in the coming weeks and months, no matter how good the technology is, all that data is not going to be available anymore. And people like DT, Weather Risks, and other companies are going to be saying goodbye. That's it. So I'm just saying. I said, if you can only do so much as a person, but if the people who you elect down in Washington don't want to do a damn thing and are just sitting there with their hands underneath their tush, then let it happen. We'll
Yeah,
all go down.
we'll see what happens.
We'll
All
see.
right, let's do a little Briller Jeopardy, shall we?
Surely.
All right, we're still on the All in the Family Archie Bunker thing. Hold on, Alexa, stop. I didn't even say, I didn't even
You know what you said when you said that name? Mine started to flash.
really. Oh, good, too funny. All right. So what does uh? Wait, hold on a second. The first question is, um, There was a show. There was an episode where Archie they took in a border. Okay, what
Oh,
did the
that's late in the series. That was
right?
late in the
What did the border call Archie?
Well, first of all, I know the border was Hispanic. I don't remember her name, and I really don't. I really started my watching of All in the Family started to wane right after Meathead and Gloria and little Joey left. Uh, left the show,
Right.
and they tried to bring in new characters to keep the show going. Teresa, that was her name. Yeah,
But what did she call Archie?
I don't remember. I don't know.
It wasn't Vincent Croce. It wasn't Gringo. And Northern Grace, it wasn't Maria. The answer is Poppy. Papi. Poppy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the next question. At Edith's high school reunion, who is everyone waiting to meet?
Oh, I know. I know the person you're asking about. Am I allowed to say the answer, or do you want to let the
Well, Rich Rothmansky just did. Buck Evans.
Hawk Evans? Right.
Okay, what is the secret that Stephanie keeps from Archie?
Um, the secret. Well,
Yes,
they eventually discovered she is Jewish. That was
that
the
is
secret.
correct. Ring the bell for yourself.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. What was the name of Archie's niece? I don't even remember this at all.
I
It se-
think
it,
I,
it
I
seems the
think it
chalkboard
actually
is
could
not
be
was not a
it could
big
be
all in
it
the
could be
family.
a boy's name as well, although with a Y instead of an E. Yeah, Rich Watmansky, Billy, right?
Well, that's not the name I have here.
Well,
A
there was an
niece.
episode, I think in the first or second season, where the niece came to stay a few days with the bunkers, and
Okay.
there was a hullabaloo because she started going out with Lionel, the neighbor next door.
Oh, okay. Well,
So that might be the other.
her name was Linda, apparently.
Well, that might have been the niece that stayed with. See, there's a lot of discontinuity
Yeah.
in the series.
Who was
So,
Archie's best friend at work?
well, it have to be what? Stretch Cunningham?
That's right, Stretch Cunningham. And the bonus question, after 5 years at number one in the ratings, what show replaced it in the sixth year?
Hmm.
Uh, Anybody? Not Three's Company. Right Network, wrong show. Not the Jeffersons. Not Barney Miller, Right Network, wrong show. Not Captain Kangaroo. Uh, no. Um, Not Andy Griffith. That was long gone, Carol DeCaro. We're talking the 70s here. Not the Brady Bunch, Christinapedia. Okay, in the opening of this, I'll give you a clue. In the opening of the show, the opening song had the days of the week in it. Okay, let's see if that. Not Mary Tyler Moore. In the opening of the show, yes, Vincent Croce, Happy Days. Give Vincent Croce a bell ring.
There you go.
And there you have it. All right, so you know what?
Incidentally, the last couple of weeks, you could watch reruns of All in the Family on MeTV. Last week, they had the episode with Maud B. Arthur. She came to tend to the Bunker family who was sick.
Right.
And then over this past weekend, we saw the beginnings of the actual or the characters who eventually went on to play in the TV show Maud. We had last night. Bill Macy showed up as a cop at the bunkers, and of course, Bill Macy played Maud's husband. Walter.
Walter.
And also there was a woman who was the original daughter of Maud. She in fact played in the pilot episode of Maud. She came and she dropped off a 4-year-old boy and said that was Mike's son. Um, and she again she later appeared in the pilot episode as Maud's daughter, but then Maud's daughter was later played for that series by Adrienne Barbeau.
Yes.
The actress who played in the pilot was a different actress.
Different actress. Yeah.
But it was like they were testing people on All in the Family to see, all right, who are we going to fill each representative role for the new
For the new
perspective.
show, for the spinoff.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they spun off Maud spun off from that. Good Times spun off from Maud. So it was a lot of spin-offs that happened from these shows.
yeah.
Okay, I think I'm done. It's 8:16 p.m. Eastern Time, so I think it's a good time to say goodnight. And we will see everybody tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m.
We will be back tomorrow night. Hopefully, all of you have a good night and good luck.
Yeah, and Harold Olson said he started watching Alfred Hitchcock Presents reruns. Yeah, I watched like the first 5 episodes of it, and I got to get back to doing it. I got busy and haven't been watching a whole lot of television, but it's on my watch list. All right, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Night night.
Good night, folks.